It's a little bit of a departure from what we're used to, which is kind of creating things out of polygons. We've been doing a lot of extruding. Now, when we get to CV Curve 2, it works a little bit differently. We're going to use it to create the three different types of containers. So we're going to create a couple cups, then we're also going to create a bottle, and then you folks are going to use what you learn to create your own vases. Yeah, so that's going to be basically what this activity is going to be about. All right, so here's how we're going to start this off. I'm going to ask everyone to jump into their front view. Yes, if you can jump into your front view. Okay, and we're gonna make sure that we have we can clearly view our origin point, yeah, which is where the x and y axis intersect. If you're thinking in terms of coordinates, yeah, it's gonna be coordinate 0, 0, yeah, so 0, 0. Okay, and we're gonna create a very, very simple cup at first. So to do that, we're gonna go into your create menu, and we're gonna start off by creating like kind of a subsection of it. So if you go into create, we're going to choose curve tools, and we're going to choose the first option, which is the CV curve tool. Okay, now CV curve tool is very helpful. This is almost going to kind of work like pottery. We're only going to make one slice of the cup, yeah, which is going to seem kind of unusual at first, but as soon as we do a revolve, it'll make a lot of sense. So our first clicks, yeah. So if you notice, I'm gonna zone in kind of on the origin point, yeah? So that's where our y and our x-axis meet. And if you can get to that point, so coordinate 0, 0, and we're gonna click one time, yeah? So we're gonna click one time with the CV curve tool activated. By the way, you'll notice, right? We do have our CV curve tool is in, it kind of looks like a target, yeah? So our cursor turns into a target. Now, after your first click, you're gonna notice that we have a yellow square. Okay, this square indicates that this is your origin point for your CV curve. Okay, now what we're also going to do with the cup is we're going to make sure that it is very flat at the bottom. The main reason why is you don't want a cup that has kind of a rounded bottom. If you do create something like that, in real life, if you were to put a cup down, it would just kind of roll around, juice everywhere, and not so good, right? So we do want to keep our beverages in the cup. As far as, yeah, when it's set down on the table. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to increase the amount of strength of this bottom area by clicking multiple times. Yeah, so we click one time, that made the square. We're then going to click a second time, a third time, and a fourth time. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, and afterwards, after our first click, yeah, so 4 in total. Okay, and what this is going to do is you'll notice I'm kind of increasing the amount of points on here. I have 3 yellow points directly on top of each other, yeah, and these are our control vertices, yeah. Okay, now I'm going to make the rest of this cup, so I'm going to kind of bring this out. My next coordinate is going to be at 1.5 for your x, 0 still for your y. So we're just going to go straight across in the x direction. Okay, and then we're going to click one time. And I want you to note the color of the line that gets created between your original 4 clicks and your 5th click, which is over here, yeah. And you notice that's white, yeah. Now white is indicating that this curve is not very strong. So if we continue to click, it would start slowly starting to snake a bit, yeah. But again, we want the bottom to be very flat. So what I'm going to continue to do is, after I did that one click, I'm going to stay in that same position, and I'm going to continue to click. So I'm going to click a second time, okay, and then a third time, and then a fourth time. Yeah, and each time you notice when I click, the dark blue line makes its way further and further closer to where you are clicking, yeah. The darker the line, yeah, if it's a dark blue line, what that's indicating is that now the line has a strength, so it's going to stay very straight across. It's going to stay very angular. Okay, we're going to continue with this by moving our way up into this area right over here. So again, we're going to spin this into a cup. So your next coordinate is going to be at 2 and 5. Yeah, so 2 and 5. If you can go ahead and click on over there, and then we're going to again make a very straight line over here. So that means clicking once, twice, a second, third time, and a fourth time. And then again, at this point, we're going to have a very dark blue line, and this will keep its form, yeah. Okay, we're going to continue with that. So we're going to make a little bit of a lip for the cup. Yeah, so we're going to go outside a little bit, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to go up a little bit, 1, 2, 3, 4. We are going to go in a bit, yeah, so we're going to go in a bit, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and what you notice over here is as I click going to here, I'm actually going to go into the interior of the cup, yeah. And this is very important because we are going to be spinning this pattern, this UV curve. And when we do spin it, we want to make sure that it is nice and we want to make sure that it has a nice thickness to it. If it does have that thickness, you're basically going to have a paper cup that is paper thin, and if you were to pour something in it, it's not going to feel realistic because it'll basically look like it's going to collapse. Yeah. All right, and then we're going to continue this pattern. Yeah. So if you notice, I'm going to go down to over here. I'm not going to go back to our origin for the Y. We're going to go stay up a little bit. Okay, and click 4 times over here. Basically, we're trying to get this kind of width right here. Yeah. So there's our thickness right there. Okay, and then our last 4 clicks are going to be back on the y-axis, but we're going to be further up. Yeah, so we're going to be further up in the, we're going to be on the 0 for the x-axis, so your coordinates are going to be 0 something, yeah, for y. So you're going to be a little bit above. You're just going to click on making a straight line, yeah, and then click on 4 times, yeah. So we click on 4 times over there. And what that's going to do is, again, finish off our straight line. Now, this right here is going to be our last click. Yeah, so right when you get back to your y-axis, you're done. Okay, and this is going to be our pattern. Kind of looks like a hockey stick, yeah. But notice we never went back to your origin click. Yeah, we did not go back and click over there. Okay, we're just going to stop off. We start off on the y-axis at 0, at 0, 0. We ended at, it looks like about 0 and 0.25, yeah, that coordinate. Okay, what I'm then going to do over here is I'm going to hit the return key. Okay, and then as soon as you hit the return key, what will happen is your curve is going to turn into, your control vertices are going to turn into like the full-on curve, yeah. And we know it's active because it's going to turn completely green on you. All right, so that would take a look at it in your perspective view, so you can kind of take a look over here. Okay, it is again very flat, yeah, but we're going to utilize this view to take this and we're going to spin it, yeah. And it's very important that we kept it on the y-axis right here because this is going to be your rotation point, yeah. So with your CV curve selected, we're then going to go into your surfaces menu, yeah. So if you can find that at the top of your screen, so find surfaces, and then we're going to choose the revolve option. And what that's going to do is it's going to spin it from where the origin is, yeah. So we're going to click on the revolve, okay, and you notice it instantaneously above spin into a cup. Okay, I am going to click outside here for a little bit and make sure that my outliner is showing, yeah. So you're gonna have 2 things here, yeah. So here's our original curve, yeah. So if you click over here, you'll notice that's our original curve. And then now we have a revolve surface, and this basically spun it 360, yeah, around the y-axis. Okay, I'm gonna rename this revolve surface. So if you can double click on it in your channel box. Okay, and we're gonna call this cup. Yeah, so we just call this cup. Okay, and then you can go ahead and hit return. That's the name of it. Okay, now we have 2 items, right? So you have your curve, you have your cup. They are actually, they do have a little bit of a relationship. So I'm going to kind of show you how this is set up. I'm going to go into my outliner, make sure that I have my cup selected. Then using the move tool, let's have this moved over to the side. Okay, and then we're going to see that we have our control curve and then we have our cup, yeah. Okay, now it is very important to note that these 2 interact in a specific way, yeah. I'm going to switch back to my front view to kind of demo this. Okay, so this is like basically the best way to break this down is this is a relationship where the curve has a lot more control over how things go versus the cup, yeah. Okay, so if I right click on here and I go into Control Vertex, yeah, so I'm right clicking on the curves, the control curve, and choosing Control Vertex, yeah, we go back into our little clicks that we made earlier, yeah. Now, this relationship is going to be whatever the curve does, the cup is very submissive. It goes ahead and follows what the cup asks it to do. So, for example, if the curve is saying like, okay, we're all going to get taller, yeah, what the cup does is, okay, yes, honey, and it basically follows along, yeah. So notice as I'm moving this around, okay, what that does is it changes the look of the cup, yeah. So I changed this so much at this point, yeah. When I move it over here, it kind of looks like I made a bit of a bowl, yeah. Okay, we can also do the opposite where we kind of bring this up, okay, and then now we have this kind of contraption, yeah. I guess it would still be considered a cup, but very loosely, yeah. Okay, so that's the relationship between these 2, yeah. So if you're doing any tweaks, yeah, what you can do is you can just kind of move these around, yeah, and you'll notice that they do have this allows you to kind of make a lot of edits. Yeah, so it's kind of a fun thing to do. Yeah, to kind of mess around with this. Obviously, I've gotten to the point where this cup is probably not very feasible. Yeah. But again, that's just kind of playing around with the curve. One thing you may notice too is like if you don't get right on the origin, you're gonna see a little bit of an opening, yeah, and in the bottom or the top. Okay, so if I take a look at this, if I zoom in really close, yeah, you'll notice I didn't quite get this on the origin. In fact, I didn't even get these on the origin on the y-axis, yeah. So by not doing that, it's kind of creating that hole. What you can do to remedy that, yeah, and let me put the cup back to its original position, is if you click on it and then move around, okay, as you're moving this, okay, your cup is also gonna edit and change into that, yeah. So that should pretty much be your relationship on here. Okay, now eventually what we're gonna do is we're gonna separate this. So okay, I am going to go into object mode and select both of these things. Yeah, okay, now remember again, these two are in a relationship, so what we're basically going to do right now is we're going to break them up. Yeah, so up until this point, whatever the curve says, the cup has to follow, right? But if you go and switch to object mode and you select both of these, you can kind of break them up by going into the edit menu, go to delete by type, and go to history. Yeah, so edit, delete by type, and history. At this point, you have actually broken them up, because now if you go to your original control curve and go to control vertices, okay, this one's kind of used to saying like giving out orders, right? So if this is moving around, it's expecting the cup to like, hey, you're listening, right? Because that I'm the boss. But now that you've deleted their history, yeah, you've basically now killed the relationship, yeah. So now this is a very independent, yeah, cup. So now it's gonna go and live its life, yeah. Okay, and this part is going to seem a little bit dark, but after we're done with that, we don't need the control curve anymore. In fact, we need that space, so we're gonna go ahead and delete it, yeah. So I don't know what the equivalent of that is in real life, like throwing the control curve in the ocean, but or something like that. But yeah, kind of dark, so we won't think about that too much. All right, but anyway, so that's building a cup. So that's the first part. Okay, we're going to continue with the next part, which is going to be building a goblet. Yeah, so a little bit more of a modified cup, and that'll be our next tutorial.